Hi, I'm Amy Romeo and welcome to my 12 Days of Christmas Crafts event where I'm sharing a brand new holiday faux leather craft every day for 12 days. Today's project are these cute mini photo album keychains, and these open up, they have a snap closure, and inside we have little plastic sleeves where you can slide either credit cards or photos inside, and you can hold anywhere from 1 to 3 of these little sleeve packets inside of your little mini notebook. We've got some elastic holding it together, and then little keychain hardware and some optional charms and tassels on the side. Now I'll let you know how to get the SVG for this in just a moment, but first let's talk about the tools and materials we'll be using. I'll be making my project today with my Cricut Maker, but you can use any of the current Cricut machines because they all cut faux leather with the standard fine point blade that's included. If you're using the Cricut Joy, you can cut faux leather with it. You'll just need the longer 12-inch mat for this project. Now the faux leather that I'm using is seasonal prints, which are fun and very timely, but this is a great project that can be made with solids or any kind of prints for a great any time of year gift. I'll have links to all of these materials and supplies for you in the description. Now the little snap is called a Kam Snap, and we use size 20s. These are available on Amazon and also on the Kam Snap website. These are really easy to put together. You just need some Kam Snap pliers, and I'll show you how to use those. Then to cut the faux leather, I'll be using the purple strong grip mat. And if you wanted to put some heat transfer vinyl on the inside of your little notebook to add some interest and make the inside look finished, then you can cut that with the green standard grip mat. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get started with the project. Now for the keychain hardware, there are lots of different options. I like these really large lobster claw clasps because this can hook onto a keychain or a backpack or even a purse. And there's a little optional dangle here that you could put a tassel or a charm like I did here, really cute. But you can also use these just with any kind of regular keychain hardware you have on hand. The elastic that I'm using is 2mm elastic. The optional tassel is a faux suede tassel, and again I'll link to those for you. We'll be using some jump rings in assorted sizes for the charms. I have a 6mm and a 10mm. We'll use some jewelry making pliers to open and close those jump rings. And then regular Cricut crafting tools, always good to have on hand. A pin pen or a weeding tool of some kind, plus some scissors. Okay. So let me show you how to get the SVG file for this project, and then we will hop into Design Space and get started. To get the SVG files for this project, visit amyromeo.com/Christmas24, or you could upgrade to the event VIP pass where you'll get instant access to all the event projects and tutorials, plus a workbook, some bonuses, and more. Starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, you'll click on Upload, and then Upload Image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG file is for this project, where it's saved on your device. Click on it to select it, and then click Open. You'll see a preview, click Continue, and then click Upload. And that will bring the photo album keychain cover onto your canvas. You'll see that this design is a little over 8 inches wide and 4 inches tall, and that's why if you're using the Cricut Joy, you will need that longer 12-inch mat to be able to cut this project. But it's a very simple shape to cut. These two larger holes are going to be for the elastic that goes down the middle of the spine of the keychain, and then these two smaller holes are for those little Kam Snaps. So we'll click the Make It button. We always want to mirror our faux leather mats because faux leather cuts in reverse. And what I like to do is drag my shape away from that top left corner, drag it away just a little bit from the edges so we have room to apply some blue painter's tape, which is going to help us get good cuts. I'm also making a note of what size faux leather I need to put down on my mat to completely cut the shape out, and it looks like it's about 9 inches wide and 5 inches tall. If you're buying faux leather from the Polka Dotted Peach, where I buy a lot of my faux leather, their pieces are 9 inches wide by 12 inches tall. If you have a piece of faux leather that is not 9 inches wide, then you can turn it sideways and you can cut this on the longer side. So you'll go ahead and click Continue. And I'll be cutting my faux leather with the faux leather paper thin setting. If you don't have this setting bookmarked as a favorite like I do, you can click on Browse All Materials and search for it. If you're using the Explore Air 2 machine, you'll need to turn your dial to Custom before you can search for it and find this setting. So I'm going to click on Faux Leather Paper Thin, and then for pressure, I always choose more pressure when cutting faux leather. Here's that reminder that we're just using the regular fine point blade that already comes with your Cricut. There's no need for any extra blade or tools when cutting faux leather. Okay, let's hop back over to my overhead camera and we will get our little photo album cut out and put together. So I've already gone ahead and cut my faux leather down to a smaller size, that size that I saw in the matte preview screen, which is 9 inches wide by 5 inches tall. This is one of those pieces of faux leather from the Polka Dotted Peach, and they make their prints 9 inches wide. If you buy something from Amazon that's thinner, as I mentioned, you might need to turn your material sideways. So the reason we trim this down is because a smaller piece of faux leather will stick better to our purple strong grit mat and shift less, because we're able to apply blue painter's tape all around, and the smaller the area, the tighter the taped area is. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it pretty side down on my purple strong grit mat. Now I did mention that if you wanted to put something like heat transfer vinyl or foil iron-on onto your faux leather for the inside of your notebook, you can, and there's a couple different ways to do that. So I will link to a video for you that shows 2 different techniques for pressing heat transfer vinyl onto the back. You can do it either before you cut or after, but I'm going to skip that step in this video just to save some time. So pretty side down, purple strong grit mat, right in that corner that it showed we're going to cut on the matte preview screen. Then I'm going to take my blue painter's tape and I'm just going to tape this down on all sides. And blue painter's tape is great because it doesn't leave a sticky residue on your mat or on your material, and it can be saved and reused quite a few times. Make sure this is pressed on really well with your fingers, and we're just going to load our mat into the machine and begin the cut. So the cut is run one time, and I always recommend before you unload the mat, use a sharp weeding tool and use it to lift up the edge of your cut to see if the cut went all the way through. Now this one looks like it did, which is great. I could unload the mat at this point, but I think what I'd like to do is repeat the cut one time. If when you lift up your edge and you need to repeat your cut, then go ahead, you can do that as many times as necessary. I'm going to repeat my cut because I have a lot of little holes that are cutting on this design, as you saw in the previous segment of the video. So I'm just going to have the machine cut those little holes one more time just to be sure they're going to cut cleanly. Either way, whatever your reason is for repeating the cut, you can just press the cut button again as many times as you need, as long as you haven't unloaded your mat. So if you need to, you can check your cut again, but I know that my cut will be good since I've run it twice. I'm going to unload the mat and remove my little shape. Then what I'm going to do is use a sharp weeding tool and just poke through those little holes. Now, I did cut them twice, so they're poking through very cleanly, but if necessary, you can use your sharp weeding tool to just make the hole a little bigger, or if something is getting stuck, you can use some curved scissors to help you cut the little piece that's stuck off. Now these holes, you'll notice, are very small for the Kam Snaps. They really don't need to be very large. And then these two are larger for the elastic. Okay, great. So now we have our little shape cut out. And what I'm going to do is take a moment and set up my area so that I can show you the next steps, which is applying the snaps and the elastic and finishing off this project. So we have our piece of faux leather all cut out and ready to go, and I've assembled the other supplies we'll be needing: the Kam Snaps, the Kam Snap pliers, our little photo album inserts. I have two 12-inch long pieces of 2mm elastic. I have some jewelry making pliers. I have some jump rings, 10mm size and 6mm, and then I have the optional little charm and the faux suede tassel. You'll also want to have some scissors on hand. So the first thing we're going to do is apply our Kam Snaps. And the snaps that I purchased are from Amazon, and they come in this box, Each box, even though it looks like they're all the same color, there's actually 4 components in each little box, little container that we need to pull out and use to create one snap. So I'll show you that in just a moment, but I just wanted to show you there's lots of different colors available. These are size 20s, and sometimes the box comes with the pliers, which is very handy. My box came with this little flyer that breaks down those 4 elements that I told you we need to create one snap. So I'll have a copy of this little leaflet for you in the download folder for the SVG because it's very helpful. So the 4 parts we need are a cap. We need a piece that's called a stud. It has little bumps on it. A socket. That's an opening where this piece fits down into and snaps. And then another cap on the bottom. So what I always like to do first is go through my box of snaps, find all 4 of those pieces, and I like to lay them out on my work surface in the exact order that they are here. So let's just take a look at our finished product again. So our little album here is going to fold over this way, and then this little flap is going to fold this way. So on the outside, we need to have our cap, that decorative part of the snap, and on the inside, we need the part that goes down into the snap. So let's go ahead and attach that part first. So that's going to be the cap and then the stud part. So remember, you have those very small little holes that we cut in our faux leather. Try and locate those. A lot of times it's easier to see them from the back of your faux leather, but just make sure those are cleaned out and available. Might be hard for you to see, but I can see where they are. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my cap, and on the outside, I'm going to put the cap down into the hole, just like that. Then we're going to take our stud piece. Again, that's the piece that has the little tiny bumps on the back. Those bumps are going to go down and touch the faux leather. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Cap on the outside, stud on the inside with the bumps facing down. Now we're just going to take our Kam Snap pliers. The black part has a little concave opening in here. That black part is going to cover the cap completely, so you won't see the cap when you're doing this right. So all we're going to do is slide our pliers over the cap and the stud, so the cap is completely covered inside the black part, and then that means the other piece, the stud underneath, is going to be lined up perfectly on this white part. And we're just going to squeeze. Squeeze as hard as you can. And now you have the top part of your snap. Now let's look on the other side. So on the other side, we have the cap here inside the cover, and then we have the socket facing out, and that way we can snap. So let's put those pieces together. Again, find your little hole in your cutout piece of faux leather. Our cap is going to go down. Cap goes down. Flip it over, and then our little socket piece is going to go down as well. And there's the opening of the socket piece there. That piece is going to face up. That way, when we fold this around, this part will snap into the socket. So again, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip mine around so that my little cap is up, because I hold my pliers like this. So the black part you always want to put where the cap is. Now this piece of faux leather, you'll see, is a little bigger than the opening here. So all I'm going to do is make sure that the faux leather kind of curves a little bit on my pliers. See how it's curved here in the pliers? That's no big deal. Making sure the black part is completely covering the cap and the white part is lined up correctly with the blue socket here, and then just squeeze. Use 2 hands again. And that's that part. So it folds over, snaps just like that. Okay, so now the next part is we want to attach our little photo album sleeves. So first I'm going to show you how to use one of these. These come with lots of different pages. You might find some that have 20 pages. You might find some that have 10 or 6. So I wanted to show you the option of just using one or using multiples. Now this one happens to have these little photo sleeves are kind of soft and flexible. The outside has a hard plastic on the front and the back, and that's for sliding into a wallet. So if you don't want these hard plastic parts, you can just trim them off with scissors, or you might find some of these sleeves that don't have these parts. I'm just going to leave it on for now for demonstration. So I'm going to take my first 12-inch piece of 2mm elastic, and from the inside I'm going to take my elastic and go down through the top hole and down through the bottom hole. Kind of make sure that you have the same amount of elastic on the top and the bottom. And what we need to do is take one 10mm jump ring, and we're just going to slide it on the top elastic, and that's going to be for attaching our key ring. So there's your elastic, and there's the little jump ring just floating around there. Just leave that tucked under for now. Now we're going to take our first little photo album sleeve, find the middle point, put it down on top of your little keychain, and all we're going to do is bring our elastic ends together and tie a little knot. Now you want this to be tight enough so that it holds in place, but you don't want it to be so tight that it's crimping your faux leather on the ends there. Now once we have that down the center, I'm just going to take my little scissors here, cut off those edges. And there, now you have just the one little photo album inside, and we close it up and it snaps. Now let me show you how to add one more photo album inside before we attach the keychain. So if you want to add another photo album, you'll take your second piece of 12-inch elastic cord, and all we're going to do is wrap it around this first insert. So wrap it around, big loop, and on the back side, again, we're going to just tie a very simple knot. Pull that nice and tight, trim off your edges, and now we have the ability to add either one or two more of these. So we're going to find the center point again, and on the front elastic here that we just tied on, all we're going to do is thread this underneath so that now our string is in the middle. See how that goes? And then if you wanted to add one more, you could by repeating that same process right through here. And this lets you expand these to up to 3 of those little inserts if desired. Okay, great. So the last thing we need to do is attach our keychain hardware. And our little jump ring is already in place to help us do that. So what I'm going to do is use my pliers here to open up that jump ring, slide on the key ring, and close that back up. And if you wanted to, you could leave it just like that. But I think it'll be fun. We'll add our little tassel here, again using another jump ring. These larger jump rings are 10mm size. I'm just going to put that on the little faux suede tassel. I like to attach the tassel to this little extra swivel here. And then I'll attach that little charm with a 6mm jump ring right next to the tassel. And there we go, that's it. Isn't that cute? So here's another look at all of the little mini photo album keychains I made. Again, these would be great to make from solids and make as gifts year round. You could also decorate these with some heat transfer vinyl if you'd like, by personalizing it with a name or any other design that you'd like to cut out and decorate it with. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you like this project, and I'll see you in the next video.